In this moment, it is essential that all of us who care about international law, who care about equality, who care about all the great successes that we've had as a species over the last 80 years or so, that we stand by South Africa. If we don't, in this very historical moment, our generation across the world is stigmatized by the shenanigans of an apartheid state, the only apartheid state left in the world after your brave people overthrew your apartheid, which is perpetrating, the Israeli apartheid state, a genocide. And that stigmatizes all of us. We will all have to answer to future generations. And in this moment, at this very historical juncture, it was the South African government and its team of exquisite lawyers in The Hague at the International Criminal Court who have done the whole of humanity a great favor by prosecuting this particular genocide in an exemplary manner, in a manner which I think that only South Africa could pull off. Because let's face it, those lawyers in The Hague that come from South Africa have been trained by people like my good friend, the late George Bizos, Nelson Mandela's lawyer. It is this whole history of the anti-apartheid, anti-white supremacist ideology that South Africa has brought to bear in international courts, which are on the verge of losing any authority they have. And South Africa has done a great favor to the international courts, to humanity, by taking this very courageous stance. And in the midst of this, you have President Donald Trump, who is trying to essentially send a message to the rest of the world by punishing South Africa that international law is dead in the water. In this moment, it is essential that all of us who care about international law, who care about equality, who care about all the great successes that we've had as a species over the last 80 years or so, that we stand by South Africa. If we don't, then we all have to lose. They are living proof that European powers never truly supported international law in the context of a pan-human, a global perspective. When it suits them, they immediately support the International Criminal Court when, for instance, the International Criminal Court issued a warrant for Vladimir Putin's arrest. The European powers were falling over each other with glee and enthusiasm to support the ICC. But when it's one of their bastards, excuse the expression, but this is the expression they use themselves. Remember, Franklin Roosevelt once said about the dictator, the brutal dictator of the Dominican Republic, he's a bastard, but he's our bastard. So it's when it's one of their bastards, suddenly the ICC and the ICJ are no longer valid. They can be trashed, they can be neglected. But allow me to say this, and I say this as a European. Europe has a long tradition of genocide. The very ideology of Zionism, remember the slogan on which Zionism was based? A land without a people, Palestine. For a people without a land, the Zionists who wanted to move there and take it over. Well, that was initially concocted by European powers like the British Empire, like Germany, like France, when they moved to Africa. They came to South Africa, the British and the Boers, and they declared this to be terra nullius. They looked at your people and decided that they're not people. So it was a land without a people for them. So there's a long tradition of practicing genocide by European powers. We had hoped that after the Holocaust, after the extermination of so many Jews by the German Nazi regime, that humanity had turned the page and that we had signed into law the United Nations Charter, the Bill of Rights, the Geneva Convention, the charter upon which and the statutes upon which the International Criminal Court was constituted. But now, and thank you for giving the opportunity with your question to make this point, Europe has proven, at least our regimes in Europe have proven, that we didn't really mean it, that we have really not disowned our genocidal past, that if a genocide suits them, they will turn a blind eye to the international law which they helped institute. And it is remarkable, is it not, that it is a country of the global south, South Africa, that is standing up for the very principles that supposedly Europeans cared for. President Trump, along with some of the oligarchs who are fully in support of him, think of the gentlemen that are surrounding him, Peter Thiel of Palantir, Elon Musk of Tesla and SpaceX, very interesting figures, also from the point of view of South Africa and Namibia, because they cut their political teeth as part of the apartheid regime. It is very clear that Donald Trump hankers after the notion of apartheid. He supports fully Israel because it is an apartheid state. These men will stop at nothing to reinstate the ideology, the spirit of apartheid. And yes, South Africa is paying a price. But South Africans know how to pay the right price. I mean, Nelson Mandela paid a magnificently large price personally by losing his freedom. And that is why I'm saying that from the perspective of the Greeks, of the Europeans, of people outside South Africa, we have a duty to support you, your country, during this good fight, which comes at a price, but it comes also with a magnificent reward. And it is the gratitude of the people around the world. Well, two things. Firstly, it is a great opportunity, is it not, for South Africa to become more self-sufficient. South Africa has many unused resources. There are better ways to organize your own political economy in order to become more self-sufficient, to create better facilities for producing the pharmaceuticals that you're importing from the United States. It is a crisis, but it's also an opportunity to become more efficient and more self-sufficient. Secondly, men like Donald Trump do not appreciate yes men. So it is crucial that your government does not make the mistake of go begging to the White House, of turning the other cheek to Donald Trump. He doesn't appreciate weaklings. You have to show strength. You must be moderate, but at the same time, not beg for his forgiveness, as some other leaders around the world have done, to their great detriment. And in the end, Donald Trump looks after the bottom line of the businesses that do business with South Africa. And to the extent that there are American businesses that make a profit out of South Africa as part of a mutually advantageous trade arrangement with South African companies and the South African state, they will continue to do this. So, stiff upper lip, more self-sufficiency, use this crisis as an opportunity to improve your political economy, and remain unbowed.